Hello, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. Today's interesting because we have some weird Nintendo Switch third-party news. So yes, coming off of E3 2017, I think one of the last things a lot of us maybe expected to be able to talk about would be information about new third-party games, at least not within a month of the end of E3. I thought for sure we would start to hear about some things like this maybe closer to the end of the year, but here it is just a few weeks out from E3 where we know one of the few negative controversies about Nintendo's presence and their spotlight and everything they had to show was the lack of true AAA third-party support, which is something that even I discussed, and I do admit absolutely was a problem and something that I wanted to see on Nintendo Switch. I want to see a lot of these games, and it was really unfortunate to not see more of it come out of E3. I kind of expected to see quite a bit more, and now today comes the news of two pretty cool pieces of information about two fairly high-profile third-party games. So the two games in question I'm sure you already know, but just as a recap, they are Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2, which is a game that we knew was supposed to be coming and was actually announced already for the Switch, but we've been waiting on information from it. We've been waiting on a release date, confirmation that it's going to come. I can tell you that for me personally, and I think a lot of folks as well, I started to worry that maybe the game was going to slip away from the Switch and maybe it was going to be something where Bandai Namco decided not to release it. A lot of us kind of wonder if that's maybe what's happening with Steep, because which is a Ubisoft game, a game that we're all wondering what's going on with that. Didn't hear from it at all at E3 from Ubisoft or Nintendo, which is very, very concerning. And I think a lot of us started to worry that maybe with Xenoverse 2 that was also happening. And luckily, this morning that was confirmed to not be true, as they gave us the official date, September 22nd. Just a couple of months from today, that game will actually be coming out on the Nintendo Switch. Very, very exciting. The other game was something that no one knew to expect, and it's a brand new announcement, and it is WWE 2K18? Is that how you say the title of that game? I don't really know how those games play out. I think they're just 2K. Just like all the other sports games made by the same company. So regardless, the brand new current gen port of the new WWE game will be coming to the Nintendo Switch later this year as well. So all in all, this is great news, you guys. This is something that I think a lot of us were hoping to see. I will say that the WWE game is not a game I'm excited for, and it's not a game I'm going to purchase. There are some games that I've talked about, like with FIFA, for example, where I don't typically care for those games or purchase them, but that is a game I'm willing to pick up to support the EA sort of relationship on Nintendo, and I want to see that improve. There are other games that I'm really kind of deciding not to do that with, like NBA 2K, for example, because I just know that I won't enjoy it. Same thing for myself with the WWE game. But I do know that a lot of folks, a lot of Switch gamers, are very much looking forward to picking that game up, as well as Dragon Ball, which without question I'll be picking up, to support a lot of these companies and let them know, hey, us Nintendo and Switch gamers do care about these games. We do want them on our Nintendo Switches. A lot of folks are also like myself, someone who owns all of the consoles and happily plays on and supports those consoles, but would love to play these same games instead on our Switches. And I think that it's a really important message to be able to send to the developers and to the industry. And just the simple fact that these two games were finally confirmed to be coming to the Switch this year is a pretty big deal, you know? And that's kind of something else I really was excited to touch on, is how this might prove these strengthening third-party relationships so quickly after E3. Again, that's the thing. I will say that, yes, I complained about and do see a huge problem in the lack of some of these third-party games coming to the Switch, but I've said this many times. I've acknowledged we're early in the life of the Nintendo Switch. There's a lot of reasons why we know third parties have reasons to have trepidation about bringing some of their content to the Nintendo console, and we have to acknowledge and give some room for forgive with these companies. I do think that the lack of third-party success on the Wii U, unfortunately, was something that lended to what's happening with the Nintendo Switch, as well as the power of the machine, probably making it more difficult to port a lot of these games over. But I always believed, and I said this many times over the last few months, that eventually we would see the change in this, and that yes, if the Switch continues to be successful, which I think it will, that these companies are going to come around, and we will eventually probably see a couple of notable third-party titles start to come on a regular basis to the Nintendo Switch. And I feel like we'll still really see the huge shift in that maybe by the end of 2018 and leading into 2019. I still think we're probably a year or two away from that happening on a consistent basis. But it's really nice to see these games confirmed and to see like a new announcement like the WWE game, because I think it does show that, yeah, behind the scenes there really might be some movement. And I know that it sucked to not see a lot of it at E3, and it did make a lot of us, myself included, worried. But I really wanted to believe that behind the scenes there was stuff happening and that we just weren't ready to see it at E3. For whatever reason, Nintendo didn't want to show or confirm that this game was coming to the Switch at E3. I think it would have been nice to see it happen at the show, but, you know, Nintendo specifically is the company that really likes to dole a lot of their information and surprises and releases out throughout the year. They don't rely as heavily on E3 as maybe some other companies do. And I think that there's good and bad to that. The bad would be that I think E3 is still important, and you do have an all eyes on you kind of situation. And yes, the importance of that is changing, absolutely, but I still think it is important. As of today, it still is important. And it's a time where a lot of people look to these companies, whether it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or whatever, to show us this stuff and to make us excited. And keeping a lot of it back sometimes can be seen as a negative, and maybe you miss the boat in some respects. Luckily, Nintendo, I still think, knocked it out of the park this year, even without that stuff, so that's a great thing to see. But the good to them not doing all that stuff at E3 is an example of today, and we're going to see many examples throughout the rest of the year as well, is Nintendo can say, hey, we use our own methods to get this stuff out to you. We can find ways to surprise you at any given time. You don't even know what morning you're going to wake up and find out this brand new cool information or a new announcement or release date or an announcement of a Nintendo Direct where we're going to get cool surprises in a random month of August or October or December or whatever. Nintendo is really great about saying E3 is important. Here's a bunch of great stuff. Here's Metroid Prime 4 and whatnot. But also, here's some information in September, just because why not? And that's a really, really cool thing that Nintendo's one of the few companies really taking advantage of that. So is this concrete evidence of the shifting tides with third-party support? Maybe not really, but is it a good sign? Yes, it's a good sign. I still think that Nintendo and the industry and these third-party developers have a ways to go to really convince us that we can believe true significant third-party support will be a part of the Switch's long-term plan. I think that we still need to really see the fruits of that labor and the fruits of that effort from both Nintendo and these developers coming together to make this stuff happen. But I do think that confirmation that Xenoverse 2 is still coming, and I really hope that that game is successful. I can't wait to play it, because I missed it last year on the other consoles, and now I can have it on my Switch. So it was like a random, fortunate turn of events, because I would rather have had that game on my Switch. The Switch just wasn't out at the time. There is still no doubt, though, in my mind, that yes, this is still a very good sign. WWE's is a huge title to kind of combat this whole lack of third-party situation happening on the Switch. Again, not a game I'm interested in, nor is it a game I'm going to pick up, but I think a lot of people will. I really think that the game's going to do pretty well, and I even know a lot of people through the YouTube community who seem to be really excited and who are big wrestling fans to this day, and I think that everyone's going to eat this game up. I don't really know if those games are typically good every year. I assume that they're pretty good because I know it's a big series, it's a big property, and I know people are always picking them up every year and always excited to play them. So I assume that they're good games. So I really hope that the Switch port, which is not like a last-gen port, I just saw that confirmed on Twitter and stuff before I got on the camera here. So I just hope that this is a quality port that really meets the expectations, and I think it's going to sell pretty well, and I think that that's going to send a very strong message to that company, which I assume is a 2K. I don't even know who makes it, so, you know, don't crucify me, guys. I don't follow that series. I don't know who makes that game. 2K Sports. It's just 2K Sports. I double-checked. I was thinking it was 2K the whole time, but I was like, is that the actual company name? I didn't really know, but it looks like it's actually 2K Sports is who makes those games, and it's gonna let them know, hey, this stuff matters, and I hope that the rest of the industry notices that. I think that while, again, you know, last point, yes, I don't think that this is 100% concrete evidence the third-party situation is, like, fixed or going to be better immediately, but I think we're going to see a couple of other games like this sprinkle out throughout the rest of the year. I'm really hoping that the next true Nintendo Direct that we can probably expect in August gives us some cool surprises, gives us some other information and details, not only on other Nintendo games, but I'd like to see another 1 or 2 fairly significant third-party titles revealed at that time. Even if that game is something that isn't coming out until next year in 2018, that's fine. I mean, a lot of us want to see this stuff happening. Is Nintendo fine for the time being without a lot of third-party support? Absolutely. You've heard me say that. You know I believe it. But we want to see some of these games on our Switches, man. Like, I love these third-party games. I want to play them portable on my Switch if the option exists. I think it's a big thing that a lot of people want. So this is just good news. It's really cool to see. I cannot wait for Dragon Ball. I think a lot of people are excited for both that and for WWE. And let's see if the third-party situation continues to get a little bit better. I think it's pretty cool stuff that we got to wake up to today. So very excited and happy to see this little piece of news come out today. Tell me what you guys think about this below. Are you excited for these games? Do you not care about these games? Do you see this as a strong positive sign for the third-party situation? Or do you think it doesn't make a difference and maybe you don't even care about third-party games on the Nintendo Switch? Share your thoughts below. All perspectives matter. All perspectives are interesting and fun to talk about, I think. And that's it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.